So, hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to New Earth Podcast. We have the most amazing guest with us today, Sandy Humby, who we've actually known each other, hard to believe, Sandy, for about 20 years now, just under, I think. And Sandy is a real energy alchemist. She's a house whisperer, and that's how I first met Sandy. She came to my house to clear a lot of dense energy in a house I was moving into. And she's also the creator of Rose Oracle cards. So welcome, Sandy. Amazing to have you on the show today.
Oh, thanks, Sarah. It is. It's amazing how the time has gone since, those early days of our connection. And I remember too, your mastery of working with energy with body code and various different modalities along the way. So our weave has been really quite special. Yeah.
It's a beautiful connection and a real pleasure to chat with you today to discover more of what you're doing recently, because I understand you've had dragons come in recently, which is a new thing. And we're actually going to be talking about roses and dragons, wisdom keepers of New Earth today, which I'm really delighted to see what comes through. So would you like to start by just introducing yourself and letting us know a little bit of your background, Sandy?
Yeah, by all means. Yeah. So I'm Sandy Humby. I have been working with energy and I guess design for 30 odd years. I was a couture wedding dress designer for nearly 20 years, working and creating beauty for the body, working to understand our radiance and the energy, and yet also the stories of the women who came to me for their dresses. It was, as somebody once described, a period of 18 years of researching the human dream, researching love, researching all of the different aspects that make us who we are. What is the connection between nature and nurture? And yet my pathway with the connection with the roses obviously has woven its way all through that period of time, because the women, this is the 80s and 90s, the women wanted roses on their dresses primarily. And this sense of connection between the feminine, the rose, and this path of love, this path of beauty, truth, and love, which I've come to understand is the way of the rose. And yeah, my journey has taken me in different chapters in my life. So there was a chapter of the 18 years of doing that research and creating beautiful silk and antique French textile dresses. Really quite exquisite in what we were able to produce. And then moving on to the exploration of our spaces, moving my design and my understanding of energy into a different arena, and understanding too that in that process I started training in Reiki and energy healing modalities from 93, and my question started to rise as to why some people get well and some people didn't, why some people perhaps would come and have an energy healing session with me and make great shifts, and then when they came back the next time, rather than incrementally taking them step by step forward into back to wellness, we'd start all over again, like a Groundhog Day. And that's really what started the questing around what creates good space, what is healthy space. And that journey then took me on into a very deep dive into the psychology of spaces, and yeah, working as a house whisperer, working and making hundreds of consultations. And of course, what I came to understand was this inner temple is directly connected to the outer temple. What we have around us, is it a sanctuary, or is it somewhere where we don't really feel comfortable? We actually feel much happier when we're out and about rather than when we're at home. And I really feel that this time that we're in is a journey of sacred homecoming on all levels, in whatever that way is that's bringing us home to ourselves. And that's how I came to be at the Alhambra in Granada in Spain in the spring of 2010 with my favorite camera. It had been on my wish list. You know, there was 2 places I was really drawn to visit, the Alhambra and Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland. And I had the opportunity to go to the Alhambra, and it was there in the rose garden that the roses started to speak to me. And I came back with a camera full of roses and loaded them on the computer, and woke up a couple of days later, and there's a voice in my head that said, "We'd like you to put 11 of us together. We've come to heal the Magdalene wound. We've come to heal the wounded aspects of the feminine in both men and women, but that it's always been the women that have sought the healing first for their children, for their families and their communities." And that's really how the journey started. So I had 11 roses that set themselves up in a chakra grid on the body, and I printed them, and you could lay them on the body, and they balanced and recalibrated the energy field. I had no idea there were any more. But there was another nudge that came in that said, "We'd like you to go to Rosslyn Chapel. There are 3 more master roses we'd like you to connect with there." And so that's how it started. And I started teaching the classes as I was directed by Spirit, and then started taking them to New York and New Jersey as well. So I had twice a year I was going out to teach classes there. And that's how it developed. And then over a period of 4 years of really diving deep with Rose consciousness, what did this mean? What did that mean for us from a practical perspective here on the earth plane? What did it mean from our connection to source and our spiritual journey? Because, you know, the esoteric had always been my fascination. What excited me, what inspired me. And so the deeper I dived with the roses, and by that time I had understood where the guidance was coming from, because obviously from those first whispered messages in the morning, I went, who is this? Who is, who's communicating?
Yes.
And the words I heard were, "We are the sisterhood of the rose. We sit alongside the White Light Brotherhood, and there are many of us who you would recognize from your previous questing, and the overlighting soul who will be guiding this work with you is Ascended Master Lady Nada. And Lady Nada is the overlighting soul of Mary Magdalene. She is a Kumara. She is a Venusian being as well as an Ascended Master. And she is the one that has guided the work all the way through. From there on in, I had a direct communication with her, and she is the one that has nudged me along the way. And actually, it was 4 years in the development of the Rose Oracle to publish it from the first time in 2014 as a 45 card deck on 5 levels, working with 5 levels of consciousness. And I sold out. I completely sold out of that first edition. And the next nudge came that there were 2 more sets that wanted to be added, 2 more levels to the work to be added. And that was the Cosmic Roses, which expanded the energy field of what was being created by the original deck out to the Earth Star and the Soul Star, the Stellar Gateway and the Gaia Gateway, which created a very interesting dynamic and a specific geometry around the body. So I had Earth Star and Soul Star, and then the last set that came through with the Heart Star, and this, they explained, was the threefold flame of love, wisdom, and power that are dynamic flames of consciousness within the higher heart. So that really is what enabled me to print the second edition in 2019, and in fact they arrived. There was an advance party, but the main bulk of the oracles all arrived on my birthday on the 6th of February. 1,500 oracle sets pitched up. And I had some friends around to share lunch as this truck turned up to bring them, you know, and they're not small boxes.
How beautiful.
And it was just like, well, my dear friends, I know we've had lunch, but can you come and help me offload 1,500 oracles? But it seemed quite potent that they came in 2020 just ahead of after the Saturn Pluto conjunction on the 12th of January. So that had moved through, which had set the template for what we were going to experience with the you know, the CV journey that we've all been on, you know, in the time to follow. So it felt that they'd come in at the right time and had increased these 5 levels of this work to 7. And yeah.
That's a phenomenal journey of how you started to work with the roses and how you birthed the rose oracles, which kind of coincided with the birthing of the new earth, you know, that shift and transition that we all started, that birthing process we started to move through with the CV, you know. So
yeah,
it's an amazing journey, and there's so much that I could pick up from that. But I know we spoke earlier about letting the roses guide what we dip into, and it feels very important to allow that unfolding. So I understand you're going to do a little reading, a little rose oracle reading for us, particularly for the solstice window as well, because this is an important time. It's been a massive year, hasn't it? 2023. My diary is actually falling apart at the seams, and and I think it's quite reflective of, you know, there's just been so much that we've been going through, you know. This is like the grand finale in a way, the solstice window. So to have some guidance as to how we can close the year in a very heart-based way would be extremely helpful.
This solstice, more than any other, I feel is super potent, and it really is bringing a culmination to our evolutionary path. Each and every one of us has been affected one way or another through the journey of this last year, and there has been huge shifts for many of us in the way that we lens our lives, the way that we view our journey here. There's been a real sense of refinement and alignment in that calling. And I do sense that next year will also be a really, really rapid moving year. But ultimately it will take us into 2025, which I feel will start to be easier. And I can remember reading years ago, which something that resonated with me, and it was something that was said by Edgar Cayce. So it would have been written eons ago, you know, as part of his prophecy, was that in 2026, that the Hall of Records under the Sphinx would be open to humanity if we had reached the right frequency of coding, because it's a frequency code that will open that Hall of Records, whereby more truth will be revealed for us if humanity is at a point where it is ready to hear that truth and to see the bigger the bigger play here on the earth. And I think that we're all in preparation for that passage.
Definitely, that moving into truth, that being able to see through the illusion of the matrix is very much what we're stepping into.
Absolutely. And it is said, isn't it, that the truth shall set you free. And we, those of us that are at the have been at the cutting edge of this, that are lighting a pathway for others. It's not necessarily been an easy journey to stand against what has been the collective, the narrative, to be able to stand in the truth of what we've been given as guidance along the journey. For me, the roses are pure love. They have no other agenda. They just come with a voice of truth from the rose heart. And the rose heart for me is 5D consciousness and above. And when we can stay in that place of the rose heart and with the wisdom and the purity of the rose, what that enables us to do is to open the portal, excuse me, of our soul stars. And the soul stars open to enable us to have connection and download keys and codes from previous incarnations that are in higher dimensional aspects of ourselves. And this means that we have a vessel that has been primed to allow us to have access to those higher keys and codes and to give them to humanity.
That's very, very poignant, you know. And actually I had Tim Wilde on last month, and we were talking about just this accessing of wisdom, from ancestral wisdom and from past life, and bringing it back into the now moment. It's not about, you know, getting caught up in those lives. It's about anchoring it in our bodies now.
Absolutely. And the only way we've been able to do that is to do the work to get into the higher heart, because that's where the frequency code is that unlocks that, because otherwise there is no safe container, and there's nothing that is going to enable us to use that higher knowledge for the benefit of humanity, unless we have passed that 5D threshold. So, and
I see that heart being very much the bridge between heaven and earth. So it's we can really anchor it from that place as well. And then of course receive all that wisdom from Mother Earth as well.
Absolutely. And we can talk about that beyond the reading too, because as you touched on when we started, the rose work in this last 18 months has also opened out to connect with the rose dragons. And they have uniquely come to me with that rose heart frequency, because that's the frequency wave that I work on. But there's a really beautiful story that's connected with that dragon consciousness that is coming again to activate this higher heart, activate this heart star energy for us, but from a different way. It's got a slightly different offering. So let's do the rose reading and see what the rose consciousness wants to open for us in this particular point of the solstice. What is the wisdom that the roses have to offer us? The first rose is Rose Bagua 4. Now, this is one of the sets in the Rose Oracle that speaks to our expression in the world. What is our heartfelt expression in the world that we can see more tangibly, perhaps in the template of our homes, in our spaces? So the Rose Bagua sits like a traditional feng shui bagua, and 9 boxes, 9 squares of what is known as a black hat bagua. And this rose is Rose Bagua 4, and she speaks to abundance. She speaks to wealth, blessings, and abundance, and where we can bring gratitude for everything that we've experienced in this last year, in particular, as we're coming to this closeout, as we go to the solstice. So the calling to be grateful for all of it. You know, many of us, like myself, I lost my sister this year. many of us have lost loved ones in this year. But how do we come to gratitude? My beautiful cat that I had with me for 16 years, my feline companion, she too completed her journey this year. But we are being asked to see a far, far bigger picture as we come to this particular solstice. What is the piece that is bringing us to this, stepping through the portal that this solstice offers us, that is really preparing us for the next level of what we've brought here, to bring into the co-creative energy that is crafting, each and every one of us crafting our own particular piece of the New Earth template. So she's a wisdom carrier, this particular rose, multi-petaled, rich. You could almost nestle into her, but she has with her all the potential. The potential sits in the buds. So she is saying, you know, just hold the vision. You've come to be a visionary. Hold the vision of what is possible and what you would really love to experience in this next phase of your journey. So let's see what else might want to come. I'll do 3 roses and let's see what they might have to offer us. I'm going to pick up the one that's
absolutely it's jumped at you.
Interesting. So I don't normally, but there was something that made me call this. This is Master Rose 3. Master Rose 3 is part of the 3 Master Roses, the Divine Feminine, the Divine Masculine. And we know that when these 2 energies within us come into balance, there is a 3rd energy that is birthed. And for some in the Christic tradition, that would be known as the Divine Child, the pure portal of connection to source. This rose calls herself the Golden Flame. And actually, I'm going to read her channeled words, because I think that that will be the most eloquent that I can be with her energy, that she rarely calls us into balance. So here she is in the book that goes with the Rose Oracle. And she says, I am the wisdom keeper. All is known in the now. In my beauty, the tears and joys of mankind. I am the sacred fire and the golden flame. And this, I feel, is one of the activating energies as we move into next year, this alignment within, because you could look at this and say it was the balance of the right and left hand hemispheres of the brain and the illumination of the pineal gland. Or you could say that it was the illumination on the crown. Either way, it's our portal of connection that connects us in to the soul star and our connection and activating these higher keys and codes of light. This flame of light, this flame of being. So these are both very high frequency activators. So we can see the potential that is here for us as we bring our focus as to what's possible for us through this portal of the solstice. And the 3rd rose is Rosemar 5. And the Rosemar roses are really the qualities of the awakened and empowered part. The Rosemar is the mother of the rose. And this rose says, I am wisdom. I hold within me the wisdom keeper. I align with that truth of who I am. And that takes us out of head knowledge and into heart wisdom. So this is our calling through this solstice portal, is to really bring gratitude and a real sense of abundance. Wealth and blessings. Wealth and blessings don't necessarily mean financial. they can be just the fact that we have such wonderful people around us that support and see who we are, and that sense of being blessed. Often, even when I have food delivered, I just, how blessed am I? I am able to buy good food. I am blessed beyond measure. This is what allows us to have a very receptive energy. The golden flame, bringing balance to inner masculine, feminine, and seeing what else is possible when we hold these two energies. And it's worked internally, it would be like the inner marriage of the masculine, feminine. And as I say, that could be birthing a baby, that could physical baby, that could be birthing a new business, could be just the fact that this is a flame of activation for something that you've been visioning into physicality. And Rosemar 5, she says, like, rest back into this. Know who you are at a core level. I am. Anything that we say after I am is an actualizing statement. I am wisdom. This is who I am at my essence. When I drop to my heart, I can access that aspect of myself. So I hope that brings inspiration as we move through this incredible time.
Thank you so much for that amazing co-creation, Sandy. That's very poignant. Mm. What I observed from your beautiful reading was that all three cards were wisdom keepers. And I know you've spoken about how the roses are wisdom keepers for the new earth, and that's part of our intention for the podcast. But those three in particular, seem to be the wisdom keepers from what I could tell. Is that your observation as well? And isn't it interesting that they came through?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's 7 levels of this work, move through from the physical into balancing the polarities in the body, to healing the 5 wounds to love, being a salve for the 5 wounds to love, to this Rose Bagua. The others are all vertical alignments, but the Bagua takes us out into what is my expression in the world? What are my gifts? What have I honed in this journey? What have I learned in this journey? What am I here to share? The Rose 5 set, as I say, is the Rose Mar set. These qualities of the awakened and empowered heart field. And then Rose 6, the cosmic roses, and Rose 7, the heart star roses. These are all sort of held within this matrix of the crown and base chakra. They hold us within this inner temple to refine and align so that we can be acupuncture points of light. That we, as we purify and align our own soul script and the stuff that we've brought on down through the ancestral line, to purify, because we're alchemical pots at the end of the day. All of this has come in, and how do we turn the base metal into gold?
Absolutely.
How do we do this?
When you're talking about acupuncture points of light, I'm really drawn to talk with you about where we're drawn to in the world, because you've spoken about that Bagua and expression in the world, but obviously, when we're online, we can be anywhere. But if we're acupuncture points, it's very specific. We're connecting in with very specific places. And I know that both you and I, we've discussed how we both were called to move around 2020. I was drawn to move to Portugal, and I feel like I'm anchoring some energies here. And I understand you were drawn to be near Borough Mump in Somerset. Would you like to chat about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I've always felt there was a connection for me with Avalon, but I wasn't drawn to Glastonbury. There are pockets in Glastonbury that I resonate with, but it's not where I felt drawn to physically plant myself. And this doorway, I hadn't imagined that I was going to leave the New Forest. I thought I, almost turned into a New Forest pony. I'd been there nearly all my life. My grandparents from Burley, which is sort of like the epicenter of the New Forest. And there was such a strong doorway that opened for me to come here. And I hadn't long been here when the energy of Burrow Mump started to call me. And I hadn't, not somewhere I'd been before. And Burrow Mump is on the Michael Mary line. And it's the last point of crossing. It's almost like a kiss, actually, how the two Michael Mary currents cross on the land. And as I said, I'd working with the cosmic roses, they'd opened me up to the energy of connection with the Earth Star, our Earth Star, which is about 3 feet or a meter below our feet. And it pattern matches with the Soul Star. It creates a vesica of golden light. These two are a dynamic envelope. And then for me, the Stellar Gateway and the Gaia Gateway create an echo, but they're still connected on this verticality, this line of light that brings us connection into from source all the way down to the crystalline core of Mother Earth. So I knew that the Earth Star was really important, and I knew that our energy field, I sensed, was actually ultimately going to have 3 power centers: Soul Star, Heart Star, and Earth Star. I saw there was a dynamic connection between our base and second chakra. And base chakra is our tribe. I'm Sandy, I've arrived, here I am on this frequency of land. And the sacral chakra, second chakra, for me is what like Jung would call the individuation. This is the template I was foundated in, base chakra. How am I rising from that in my individual sense of self, my sensuality, my sexuality, my creativity, my sense of value of myself, and my ability to hold money? Those two seem to dock for me into the Earth Star. And the Earth Star, in turn, docks into the crystalline grids of the Earth and the energy currents of the Earth. And really that determines whether we are aligned in a positive way to where we're living, whether there is a calibration between our energy and the energy of the land that we are currently residing on, that is a life supporting or life diminishing relationship. So coming to Avalon for me was definitely a positive for me to be here in Avalon. And what I've come to understand since is that this particular area where I'm on, which is just on the edge of Avalon, that is closest to Burrow Mump. Anyway, I pitched up at Burrow Mump, as you do, and it's an interesting walk because there's no health and safety.
It sounds like Portugal.
Yeah,
it's like none here.
Yeah, if you go for it, mate. If you think you can get to the top of that, fine. So I got to the top and I had a wander around, and I stood in a place that called me outside. Burrow Mump is a not as big as the Tor. It's a mound with a semi-dismantled church on the top, dedicated to St. Michael. The tower is pretty well intact, but the main body of the church isn't. It's a ruin. It's just walls and windows. So I stood outside of the church and just sort of tuned in. It's got spectacular views across the Somerset levels, and you can see, on a clear day, you can see Glastonbury Tor from there. So I'm stirred, and I can hear this hum in the land, just this deep hum. And I got very guided to go in, clamber in to the main body of the church and into the tower and hum the note that I heard from the mound. And it was fascinating. It was like the church tower pulsed. And when I went off note, it stopped. When I went back on note, it pulsed.
Wow. So you found a real resonance with that
Mm-hmm.
land.
And then I stood and went back into the main body of the church and stood where I felt there was an energy center. And I heard this voice that said, "We are the elemental rose dragons. We are your next point of connection." And there are 4 of us that are the elemental rose dragons of earth, air, fire, and water. And there is also an elemental rose dragon of the ether. And we come from the 5D heart of Gaia. And we are here to help humanity create a different bridge, a different connection with Gaia and her wisdom, and a different sense of understanding of connection with the elements. And the thing that really struck me was how every cell of this body is of the earth. Like I'm made up of the same proportionals of earth, air, fire, and water as Gaia is, as Mother Earth is. And Mother Earth provides everything for us that this physical vessel needs. The food, the water, it's all provided that is enabling this vessel to be at its best. That is a vehicle for spirit, with vehicle for my soul and for spirit to be present on this earth plane. And the more that we can be in sacred honor of the earth, the more aligned and at home we are in this body. And as someone who, even in 93, when I started with Reiki and 3 years at a philosophy school doing meditation and Advaita, deeper connection into this, I did this to get out of my body. Trauma
Yes.
from my childhood meant that, there was no way that I was going to do anything that's going to bring me into the body. I mean, hell no. I wanted
That's
out.
why I prefer the birthing of the new earth rather than ascension,
Yeah.
as the wording, because
Yeah.
that sounds to me much more about being embodied,
Yeah.
whereas ascension sounds like, slightly
Out.
ungrounded.
Yeah.
And this is a process of really coming into ourselves. And I'm really interested to hear about these rose dragons, because my understanding of the dragon lines, like the old ley lines, they're called the dragon lines. Is this what you're talking about? Because they can be elemental as well, or are these new kind of song lines or ley lines for the new earth that are coming through?
I believe that they are the new, that I
That's what I
sense them
felt. Yeah.
as undulating currents that are really connected into the heart. This is, they are beautiful energies to work with, that's for sure. And deep, deep wisdom carriers. And they really are here to support our connection with the earth and understand the energy flows in the earth in a different way, to understand that she's a living, breathing organism. What was fascinating is, after my Burrow Mump experience, I got to have several conversations with Rory Duff, who I think
Yes,
you
I'd love to
also,
have him
I know.
on. He's on my
Yeah.
list, wish list.
Yeah, I mean, fascinating, amazing man, very, and I was very grateful to have those conversations with him about what I was experiencing at Burrow Mump, because it's something that he's very familiar with, and also his understanding, particularly in this solstice window, that solstices and equinoxes are what he calls harmony time, and particularly in the days leading up to the exactitude. He sees these energy lines coming into what he calls harmony. But what is fascinating, Sarah, is that when he talks of this, he speaks of these energy lines coming into this phase lock, whereby they open like a rose.
Wow.
So this is where the synergy was in my discussion with him about what I was experiencing. I'm going shivery.
Me too.
As I was experiencing with him, with these rose dragons, and what they were showing me of what was potential for us as humanity, as another activating wave in these points of harmony time.
Can I just interrupt? Do you see this opening like a rose? Do you see that connection with the portal? You know, and the rose is having that connection with the portal, but that kind of that movement. I don't know if there's any sacred geometry in that, because I know you've got an interest in the what's it called, the divine, the mean,
divine proportion, golden
proportion.
mean. Yeah. So as I sense it, there is a direct connection between what's happening on the land at these node points, and it's the node points that are interesting. I've got another piece of my own personal curiosity and exploration, which will take me back to Rosslyn Chapel, because I believe that there is an energetic mandala from the work that I connected with in 2011 with Rosslyn Chapel. That means that there is a mandala of light that radiates from there with node points at certain place marks that are connected into a sun disk, a frequency sun disk that's underneath Rosslyn Chapel. And that's what I sensed when I was there. But that's also got a connection to the work that was done by an amazing man called James Tiburon, who's not actually with us on the earth plane, but he used to run Earthkeeper. But his research with these discs, these sun discs, which are vibrating, it's a vibrational particulate piece that seems to energetically charge certain points on the planet. So there's another piece of him that I'm going to be on the case for in this coming year, but in 2024. But the energy of the node points, and particularly at Borough Mump, which feels to be very clean. It's a very clean node point, because not that many people know about it, and it's come all the way up. The energy line has come all the way up from the west point of Cornwall and up through, and continues on a diagonal through England right out onto the east coast. So the other fascinating piece around the elemental rose dragons at Borough Mump is that they said that there were 13 celestial rose dragons that would be waiting until the work with the elementals had been completed before they revealed themselves as a 12 around the one. There is a 0 point field, and almost like a crown of 12 stars, a sovereign crowning that is possible once we are anchored into a full embodiment here. And that really was the teaching of Mary Magdalene.
Yes.
As I say, Mother Lady Nada is the overlighting soul, but Mary Magdalene came here to teach us how to be 100% spiritual and 100% physical. How do we
it's interesting. I had the lovely Sally Hinchliffe on a few months ago, and I can't actually remember if it was in our podcast conversation or another, because we ended up doing a bit of work together. But you know, we were talking about the way of the rose and embodying the divine feminine, and she was talking about womb healing, and she spoke about how, I can't remember if it was the womb or the vagina being like a portal. And this really resonated with me, because I've done a lot of work with Master Mantak Chia, and he talks about the 3 gates and how we need to open up the 3 gates. And this access point of, you know, it's the creation energy ultimately, isn't it? Accessing that creation energy. Is that something you've explored at all, Sandy?
It's part of the work that I've been exploring. I'm actually, my focus is taking me much more into a fascination with the sacred secretion, with the oil of gladness, and the element, the energy of bringing that energy back up from base second chakra, from the base of the spine, and bringing that up to illuminate from the pineal and the pituitary glands, the milk and honey energy. That's where my particular path and my particular fascination goes.
So would people understand that as the Kundalini energy?
It has a connection to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you see the difference, just so people can follow you?
The Kundalini energy, I mean, they're working with the same, it's working with the same things. You're working with the Ida and the Pingala and the Shishamna. You're working with the inner technologies of light. It's just coming from a slightly different place.
Would it be more the microcosmic orbit? Because that's what I'm more familiar with. So you have the masculine channel and the feminine channel down the front. Is it more in line with that?
They're all connected. It's all interwoven. It's just a slightly different lens, a different.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It is, but you know, this is what we have to work with. This is our canvas, and so working with the working with the womb energy, working with the portal of creativity and procreativity within us is the essence of all it is. Everything is birthed through the feminine or the mother. Everything is birthed through the great mother. Everything, you know, it cannot be otherwise.
Well, that's where we find our abundance, and people look to the heavens, you know, for abundance, and it's actually Mother Earth. You know, that's where the fruits of our labor, the fruits of the earth, it's that connection. So that came through in the first rose card, that abundance, that gratitude. Because for me, that connection is through the gratitude. It's that you know, I have this practice of smiling into Mother Earth, which is a really simple practice to show gratitude and connect. Do you have any kind of tips for that connection of abundance and connecting into the core of Mother Earth?
Only through the little meditation that we will do to close this podcast, really connecting in and allowing that sense of rooted connection into the earth and allowing a dialogue, because the more we are able to receive, whether that's from the earth or from the source energy, the more that we are able and we're primed to receive from that sense of abundance all around us. It's not determining it as one or the other, but it's making us receptive.
That's beautiful, and that's so poignant for this time of year, which is a yin time of year, when we really need to go within and allow ourselves to give ourselves to ourselves. So would you like to lead us into the meditation, Sandy, whenever you're ready?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will also say that particularly for us as women, on the whole, we are primed to give.
Yes.
That is the nature of the feminine. And for many of us, given that, we are also not primed to receive. And it is something that we really need to get very good at. It's like the in-breath and the out-breath. It
really is.
Yeah. You know, we can't have one without the other.
Well, we can become too full, don't we, if we can't we need to let go firstly in order to be able to really receive. So that's that healing process again, that healing journey of letting go, so that we can really receive.
And it's also like we have to let the breath go out before we can breathe in. You know, it is a reciprocal piece. It's like they're like the waves on the shore.
Can I just add, because a lot of people don't know this, I work with the diaphragms, and we have a connection with our diaphragm, our thoracic, our pelvic floor, and our tentorium cerebelli in the brain. But there's also another one that many people don't know, and that is the arches of the feet. And it's that reciprocal diaphragm kind of relationship with Mother Earth of giving and receiving.
Yeah, And actually from my pranic healing training, because I'm pranic healer, pranic psychotherapist, energy, which I've done for 20 years, the core, the soles of the feet and the chakras on the soles of the feet, which is exactly where that arch would be.
Yes.
Are that connecting point. It's the rooting
it's the kidney
point.
one point. Yeah,
and
the
you can
kidney one point, which is the start of the kidney meridian. So.
Yeah. And the other interesting thing is that 30% of the energy in the base and the sacral chakras goes down the legs. So there is a direct connection from the energy of base second chakra, and that our ability to receive through the soles of our feet. So why it's good to go and stand on the earth or stand on the grass in bare feet.
And I do a lot of work, you know, if people are feeling low in energy and things like this, I do a lot of work with unlocking the coccyx sacrum joint, because the kidney meridian, which is our way of receiving that nurturing energy from mother up the inside of the legs, it can sometimes get blocked there. It's a really common place.
Wow.
And then the sacrum, of course, connects in with that sacral area as well. So it's amazing when we start to really, all these little connections. It's quite fascinating, isn't it?
It's all connected, isn't it? You know, it is all part of the whole. So one aspect of us is not in true balance, then all of us is not in true balance. You know, we have to learn to be masters of the vessel, masters of energy, and recognizing where we are out of balance. And of course, that's why many of us chose to do training in the healing arts, so that we could help ourselves and we can help others. So perfect.
Thank you so much. So would you like to lead us into the meditation? If anyone's driving, it's probably worth pausing at this point and returning to the podcast.
Okay, so just take a few nice easy breaths and just let the day this far just fall away, just soften, just to bring the attention to the tip of your nose and the air as it's passing in and out of your lungs. And perhaps have a little scan down through your body, just getting a sense of where you might be holding any tension, any discomfort. And perhaps just let that go on the out breath. Any tension around the heart, any sense of heaviness, just let that go on the out breath. Perhaps just seeing it like vapor, just releasing from the body. And if you feel to, just lengthen that out breath. And this allows your central nervous system to settle. And just from that focus on the breath, just let your energy just settle into your heart. And again, with every breath in and out, just feeling that heart center becoming more and more bright. And perhaps slightly luminous. And feeling that heart moving and expanding so that it connects in with the heart star, which is up where the thymus is, just a little bit above the physical heart and the energetic heart, into that higher heart. And then just expand your awareness so that you're aware of the soul star up above your head, where your fingertips would touch if you stretch them right up above your head. And your earth star down below your feet, 3 feet or a meter below your feet. And just feel a sense of yourself on a continuum of light, that connects the soul star with the heart star and the earth star. And then just feel that energy expanding down into the earth to the core of Mother Earth. And up above from the soul star, right up through the stellar gateway and up to Source, Great Spirit, God, Goddess, whatever your name is for that emanating field of light and consciousness. I get a sense of yourself as an acupuncture point of light, bridging the frequencies of heaven on earth. Let's take your attention to your heart star and your heart, and invite in a rose. And you might sense her, you might see her in that heart center. You might get a sense of her color and her form. Is she a bud? Is she a full-blown, blousy rose? But just feel her presence in your beautiful, luminous, golden white heart star. And just be aware of the beat of your heart. Bring your awareness to the beat of your heart. I invite you to send a beam of your beautiful, luminous, rosy heart light to anywhere in your body where you can sense any discomfort, any contraction, any pain. Send a beam of this beautiful rosy heart light into that area and just sense it oscillating and unlocking any tension, any discomfort. And then bring your attention back to your heart. And on the next out breath, breathe out this beautiful rosy heart light right out through your body, down through your solar plexus, navel, sacral base, right the way down to the earth star, and up through from your heart to your throat, third eye, crown, right up to your soul star, so that this wave of light has moved through every cell of your body. And know that with every beat of your heart, this pulse wave continues, just like you would drop a small pebble on a pond and see the ripples. With every beat of your heart, this pulse wave of rosy golden heart light moves through every aspect of your body at a cellular level, reminding it of its original blueprint, its optimum blueprint for health and vitality. Knowing that that will continue to run for as long as you need it to run. You might like to thank the rose for helping in the process and her great love and healing. And then just take a nice easy breath in and out. Become aware of the weight of your body sitting on the chair, your feet on the floor, feeling rooted and connected into the earth, grounded and present. Perhaps wriggle your fingers, your toes. And then when you're ready, just take a nice deep easy breath in and out and open your eyes with a big, big smile.
Beautiful, Sandy. Thank you so much. And everyone, do let us know in the comments how you found that meditation. And also do let us know in the comments if you have any questions from the conversation today, because it's been so rich. I'm sure there'll be plenty that we can carry on with discussions in the comments to the video. So thank you so much, Sandy. You've been an absolutely incredible guest. Is there anything you'd like to close with today? And how can people get in contact with you? I will be putting links in the description to the video, but just so people know where to look.
Yeah, I've got two websites. sandyhumby.com has got mostly about my work with consultation work and the houses that and land that I work with, actually with the roses and mandalas of light. The other website that is all about the roses is rosealchemy.com. And I have got in January coming up a couple of, there's a visioning day that is in the diary there, and also an introduction class to working with the roses and the rose consciousness, particularly as we're going into 2024, and how the roses can help us optimize our health, our wealth, and our vitality. So there's
beautiful.
some
I'll
lovely
certainly
things.
look into those myself. It's incredible work that you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thanks everyone for listening. Do hit the subscribe button so you can receive more New Earth podcasts, and please do share as well so we can really get Sandy's wonderful work out there. Sending many blessings, and thank you. Thank you, Sandy. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.